The main building of Murim majestically towered over the rest in the settlement. The leader received one of his people and began to inquire about the information received regarding the village of Yun and the four emperors' clan. The man was informed that a huge detachment of warriors, about 100 people, led by the third prince, was moving towards the settlement. It was also known that the 5 strongest warriors of the clan accompanied the army a little behind, not showing themselves to the prince's people. The leader was surprised. The strongest masters went on a campaign to the village. It was strange. Could it be that Indu himself decided to avenge his disciples? Considering that Wai Chan is not a master, where does he get such unimaginable strength? This raised questions. There are also suspicions that they are trying to pressure him, showing strength. Myong Gak is capable of this. The leader wondered if this boy could withstand so many people, and even 5 exceptional martial arts masters. The man replied that most likely Wai Chan will receive many different injuries. However, he is confident in the boy's victory. The leader was surprised, as it was about Sawalgan, the oldest master of the 4 emperors' clan. Facing him face to face was always dangerous. The interlocutor replied that Wai Chan must win to realize their plans. The leader smirked. Indeed, they do not need extra losses in this duel. Based on the intelligence information, it can be concluded that the guy has mastered the martial arts of demonic poisons. And this is one of the strongest and most complex techniques in the history of martial arts. Possessing such power, he will be able to unite the alliance into a single whole. The interlocutor confirmed the leader's thoughts. Moreover, they will be able to immediately implement the reforms that were previously revoked by the adherents of the 9 great clans and the 10 great martial arts masters. The more the leader thought about new possibilities, the more attractive it seemed to him to attract Wai Chan to his side. He asked his interlocutor how he managed to obtain the most valuable elixir of the demonic cult. It turned out to be simpler than simple. A classmate of the interlocutor helped to get it. The leader asked again, does this person mean Admiral Wang Dan? He always considered people like the Admiral to be sellouts and ready for anything for their own well-being and power. The leader was concerned about the fact that the elixir was obtained in such a way, and even in a demonic cult, but the interlocutor convinced him that all this was for the sake of achieving their goal. With this poison, they will be able to not only unify the alliance but also deal with the 4 emperors' clan and the demonic cult itself. The leader affirmed General Nam's correctness. Now, the most important thing was to secure Yun Wai Chan on their side. Suddenly, the men's conversation was interrupted by some noise at the door, followed by a displeased female voice. The doors to the leader's office were blown off their hinges. Standing at the threshold was a charming girl, the leader's granddaughter, who had kicked the doors open with her foot. The girl entered the room where the men sat, her face showing displeasure. The granddaughter was upset that her grandfather had excluded her from the operation to tame Wai Chan. She wanted to personally oversee the process. Baek Jin Jin was the fiancée of Myong Go, and she simply wanted the alliance to support her aspirations to help. The leader laughed, watching Jin Jin's anger, and asked her to hold back her statements. The grandfather thought that his granddaughter's speech was motivated by the fact that Myong Go had been injured by the 4 emperors' clan, but he is all right now. The girl interrupted the old man. She didn't care the slightest about her fiancé's condition. What interested Jean was meeting Wai Chan. She was thrilled by the strength of this man, who alone had destroyed the vile Dam clan and the best warriors of the 4 emperors' clan. The leader asked his granddaughter to trust him and be patient. He wants to find her the most advanced techniques in martial arts. The girl became angry. In that case, there was no point in keeping her husband alive. The old man was displeased with his granddaughter's behavior, especially in front of the general. She was supposed to be meek and obedient, not shouting about her preferences to the whole alliance. The man angrily crushed the nuts he was sorting in his hand. This girl was still so young and inexperienced. Seeing the leader's reaction to her words, Jean got scared. She had never seen her grandfather so angry. The leader was worried that something might happen to him, then his granddaughter would be left without protection. That's why he was trying to find her the strongest man to marry. The girl listened carefully to her grandfather's words and understood how deeply he was concerned for her safety and well-being. But to accept that everything was going exactly as her grandfather wanted was difficult for Jean. She clenched her fist tightly. Inside, the girl was indignant, but she couldn't show any more disrespect to an elder, especially the leader of the entire alliance. With thoughts that she resembled one of the man's puppies, Jean headed towards the exit of the old man's office. But simply leaving without saying anything was very difficult, so the girl vented all her dissatisfaction on that long-suffering door through which she had entered before. The men looked at the chaos caused by the leader's granddaughter and wondered how to negotiate with someone who, essentially, was still a child. The general remained silent. He understood the leader but couldn't express either support or criticism of his relative's actions. The sun descended over the fishless lake, creating a breathtaking spectacle. In the ethereal cave, trials were underway for the future great warriors of the Yun village. The blonde cautiously stepped into the cave, carefully looking around. Suddenly, a cluster of bright energy leaped out of the darkness towards him. The guy was bewildered. He knew something unusual awaited him here, but he didn't know what exactly. Approaching the guy, the energy cluster transformed into a warrior who crossed his sword with the guy's blade. The blonde slashed the air in front of him in surprise. He didn't understand who this man was and why he was attacking him so suddenly. Another stranger was also approaching him from behind. The guy looked scared and thought that this was the second attacker. He repelled the attack. It wasn't easy, but the young man dealt excellently with both opponents. Just as he thought about it, two more adversaries materialized out of thin air. The guy took a fighting stance and decided that this was the basis of his training. After all, information is best memorized through practice, and he had already read all the necessary theory. So, it was time to practice his strikes. The blonde skillfully dodged the enemy's attacks, and with each attempt, he improved. It pleased the guy. At some point, he even began to feel stronger and more confident, and the sword became a natural extension of his hand. At some point, when the opponents were defeated, the blonde saw how his trusty sword shattered into particles. It was unexpected. However, ahead, the guy noticed a portal where his friends were standing. Perhaps it was the way out. The blonde headed towards the portal, and he was right. Near the cave, his friends stood, the same guys whom Wei-chan invited to learn martial arts. The blonde was the youngest among them, and the guys were proud that he coped with training no worse than the older ones. On a rock near the cave, the guys noticed Hua Yun. They were surprised because, according to their sensations, a lot of time had passed. Could it be that the girl had been sitting motionless since they entered? Hua Yun finished her meditation and descended to the guys to congratulate them on completing their training. She told them that she discovered an interesting ability thanks to the knowledge she gained. Now, the girl could train her skills through a meditative state, diving into it deeply enough. This amazed the guys. She praised each one of them. They completed the 60-year training. Wei-chan would be pleased with this news. The guys laughed. Indeed, their training lasted so long, but they felt reborn, no older than the moment they entered the ghost cave. Meanwhile, Hua Yun pondered. Was everything all right with her husband? He had been absent for several hours. She understood that he had to protect the village, and the weight of this responsibility was not yet shared with anyone. After all, It was for this purpose that the man decided to train the guys. Mak-shun watched the hero carefully. He didn't interfere in the duel with Indu, but he couldn't deny himself the pleasure of fulfilling the idiot's request. The guy's reaction to this was unclear. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave comments to help the new video come out as soon as possible. Have a great day.
Didn't even get to browse.